it's raining a lot. Hello, good morning. It's Sunday and we are at about 500 meters altitude in a spruce forest, and we are going to look for mushrooms together. It is relatively warm for the season. It's about 11 degrees, which at this altitude and in this region is actually pretty warm. And it has been pouring dogs and cats, and it's still pouring dogs and cats, as you can see around me. And I see lots of mushrooms. Oh man. Okay, but let's get started. All over the place. Bon, start with those ones. I think they are actually all of the same species. Eh ben, that is enough. Huh? And this is actually an interesting case because you see from the top it looks like we have some Clitocybe, you know, because it has this very funnel shape. But when you look at the gills and the hat and the color, you see that it is very much Hygrophoropsis aurantiaca. It's just that here there is a very high density of Hygrophoropsis aurantiaca. Almost got confused because this could be a Clitocybe, but the fact that the gills are making forks like this is characteristic. Also the stipe is empty. I can actually cut it for you. You see, voilà. The stipe is empty and fibrous. Hygrophoropsis aurantiaca, we've already seen it. It's pretty rare to see that many Hygrophoropsis aurantiaca at once. They usually come in troops of 5 or 10 at most, but here it is. Wow, it's all over the place. Look. All over the place, I'm telling you. And again, Hygrophoropsis aurantiaca. My God, I've never seen that many at the same places. So it's, to be honest with you guys, I'm a bit doubting, because it looked to me also very much like some Clitocybe. Mushrooms can be confusing, and that's what I want to illustrate here. You see, this is also Hygrophoropsis aurantiaca, but a young individuals, and you see how sharp orange they are and how they become paler with age. So just what we've seen before, it was a big troop of Hygrophoropsis aurantiaca that is perhaps already a week old. These ones are, I think, much more recent. Something maybe a bit interesting. So this species is actually easily recognizable because of where it grows. You see, it's growing on a cone of spruce. It can also grow on cones of pines. And you see the color is slightly beige, and the gills are very much white and very, very dense. Let's look a little bit closer. Voilà. You see that they are very, very close. The stipe is again empty and fibrous. See that the gills are adnaceous, meaning they are going up into the stipe. Voilà, this species very common in spruce forests. It grows on cones and it degrades the cones. It's actually eating these cones, and it's called Baeospora myosura, which means the Collybia. So it's related to the Collybia because of these white and dense gills, and the Collybias that looks like the mice tail. Don't ask me why. I don't see any mouse tail here. Never mind. Calocera viscosa. Ah, finally, something more substantial, I hope. Oh yeah. Again. So, if you look at the shape, you see a first thing is that the stipe is not obese, meaning it's not almost the same diameter as the cap. Meaning this is not a bolete sensu stricto. So, Boletus edulis and so on, they have much more obese stipe. Second thing is that if you would look at the cap here, here we are a bit unlucky, it's very wet, but if it will be a little bit less wet, the cap will be a bit dry, like velvety, and that means it belongs to the group of Xerocomus. Xero means dry, comus, the top of the cap, I think. So Xerocomus, we are in a Xerocomus, and now among the Xerocomus species that have a stipe that is almost uniform in color like this, the cap that is brown, this beautiful brown. It can be also sometimes darker depending on the weather. This is Xerocomus badius. Badius, like the color of the horses. Some horses have this beautiful color, and in Latin it's called badius. Yeah, so the pores are quite large, also characteristic of Xerocomus. Blue when you push on them. So I will touch them gently, and now they will turn blue. Please turn blue, please turn blue. Yeah, slowly but surely it is turning blue. Edible, and even relatively tasty actually, and there is very little risk of getting confused with a species that is toxic or not edible. So it's actually pretty much overlooked, while in fact it's a pretty good one. Now you are wondering why he's not smelling mushrooms. He's usually spending half of his time spending mushrooms, putting them in front of his nose and telling us smells that actually don't even exist. It's because, oh, found something. It's because it's very wet, and therefore the smells are a little bit diluted by water, unfortunately. But never mind. Oh, look at this again. Again, Hygrophoropsis aurantiaca. Ah là là, there is enough to eat for a long time. Oh, beautiful Calocera viscosa. See something here that is not Hygrophoropsis. That's something else. What is that? Yeah. What is this? Hop là. We remove it. Eh oui, you recognized it. We've seen that already. Paxillus involutus. Involutus, because the cap is rolled, so you can check on the previous video from last week. The cap is rolled, there are hairs on the side that are now stuck to the cap because of humidity, and also the gills become brown when you damage them. They get tinted quickly. Quickly, I said quickly. Good brown. now. Yeah, voilà. So you see, yeah, it's getting brown now slowly. It takes a few seconds. Paxillus involutus. In theory, it used to be edible. It's actually toxic. Oh no! Again! Ah! No, it's boring now. Stop this. I'm tired of this Hygrophoropsis aurantiaca. Enough is enough. Let's move to another part of the forest where there is much less. Well, we have some deciduous trees. Maybe we have something interesting. Well, deciduous trees, you have to say it quick because it's not that many. Oh my god, what a mushroom desert this is. It's nothing. Tiens, Calocera viscosa. What a surprise! Finally something slightly different. I was seeing it here and there, thinking maybe it's Hygrophoropsis aurantiaca, but it's not. Voilà, so you see that this mushroom is actually growing on a branch, so I took another individual from behind, and you see how it looks like, and you will say, ah, it's exactly like Hygrophoropsis aurantiaca because of the color. Eh ben no, it's not the case. Look, the gills are actually not decurrent at all, they are not going down to the stipe. And it's really growing on the wood like this. So we are in fact with the group of Crepidotaceae. It's a Gymnopilus, and actually Gymnopilus sapineus, and we recognize it because the gills are... So there is normally a cortina, which is the equivalent of an annulus, a ring if you like, but it's made of fibers and it usually sticks to the stipe. Here, on this species, we don't really see it, but what we see, however, is that the gills are yellow and then they become orange or rusty color with time. And this is characteristic of Gymnopilus sapineus, on top of the fact that it grows on conifer wood. Gymnopilus sapineus. Doesn't smell anything special. It smells a tiny bit like raw potato. Gymnopilus sapineus. Not edible, too bitter. Ah, here we have something a bit pretty. And I'm not 100% sure of what it is yet. Ah, interesting. A bit of a challenge. Good. So we have here several troops of this quite pretty little mushroom. You see it all around here. It is growing, it seems, not on wood, so really in the floor. And if you pull it out, you see, I also take another individual nearby. What do you see? You see a beautiful color. In fact, if you look on one side, it is quite orange or a pale orange with a little bit of lilac tint, and this lilac color is even more clear when you turn the fungus upside down. And the gills are actually pretty large, and if you would look at the spores, they will be white. If we look at the stipe, and that's a characteristic of this genus, it's a Laccaria. You see the stipe is actually very resistant to torsion. You need to turn it like more than twice to be able to break it down. This genus, Laccaria, has caps that are between the orange and the lilac. And here we have a very interesting one because I suspect, but I'm not sure. Yeah, you see the base of the stipe is also purple like this, and the mycelium under it will be also purple or lilac. This is Laccaria bicolor. It's not a very common one. Usually you have Laccaria laccata or Laccaria metystina being the purple, Laccaria laccata being the orange. This one is in between, bicolor. Bicolor means two colors. the lilac and the orange. And this species is actually a very good fungal model for researchers in biology. How does it smell? It actually smells very good. It's edible, but you cannot eat the stipe because it's too tough. And it has an average button mushroom smell, but a very good one. Perhaps a little bit less cyanic, a little bit less almond-like than the one of the button mushroom. Boring. Boring Hygrophoropsis aurantiaca all over the place. Let's escape this forest full of Hygrophoropsis. It's tiring, I'm bored of them. I want to get out. I'm tired to sit on the same species over and over again. Oh, something big, something large. Megacollybia. Alors, let's look. Yeah. So you see the gills, I think this is Megacollybia platyphylla, and we'll verify it in a second. It has a very simple character to see it. So Megacollybia platyphylla, it means it's related to Collybia with their white gills and their nice, typical, basic but tasty mushroom smell. And they have these very large gills, and platyphylla means also that this gills, phylla means leaves, so the gills basically are very large and thick. And if you would pull the mushroom out, you would actually see, you see here, this thing here are actually rhizomorphs. The mycelium of this mushroom agglomerates into kind of big cables in the floor, which is used by the mushroom to convey nutrients. Yeah, the Collybias, they smell very good. It has this a little bit a slightly fruity smell. It's like button mushroom, but more delicate and a little bit more fruity, more vitamin-like. Anyway, but who cares because it's not edible, yeah? Megacollybia platyphylla, very common. It's usually the first one to come at the beginning of autumn. This year it's a little bit late. It's raining a lot, it's quite warm, and we are under a deciduous forest, but there is almost no mushroom. There's something wrong here. What's happening? I like autumn, I like the rain, but not to this extent, come on. It's too wet now. I'm soaking, let's call it a day, because I'm wet. Anyway, my mobile phone is getting super wet, my identification book as well, not to speak about myself. I'll call it a day. If I find something on the way back, I will tell you. But what did we learn today? Well, we've learned that no, we didn't learn much. We learned today that Hygrophoropsis aurantiaca can be very, very abundant. I've never seen that many Hygrophoropsis aurantiaca. With that, I wish you a very good week and see you next time.